safety. Our next speaker that I want to share with you with the interview that I did with her, her name is Mrs. Yvonne Orvani Woodrick, who will share insights into addressing suicide as a mental health condition and working to help change the definition. Vonnie is going to share with us her family experience and the efforts underway with an organization and a group that she's working with called I Understand Love. Her story is quite fascinating with a genetic issue that her husband had with her family, with his family, that he is also that he fell prey to, and we want to have her share with you not only insights of what she learned and what she experienced, but also her ongoing efforts with her own children, since this is something that is genetic. So let's go now to hear Vonnie and I Understand Love. And good afternoon, Rich Goldman. We are here for the third presentation here at the 2021 Crime Prevention Conference. Our speaker this afternoon, Mrs. Yvonne Woodrick, and her topic is mental health issues involving suicide. Her message to our crime prevention personnel was so important for a couple of reasons. One, dealing with the family members, but also the personal side of it. But the most important is law enforcement's interaction with the families and the aftermaths of things that are going on and how important it is. And I want to have her talk about that for follow-up when you've dealt with a family, either before or even after, how important your role is in law enforcement and mental health professionals. Yvonne, thank you so much for being here this afternoon.
And everybody calls me Vonnie.
Vonnie.
Everybody calls me Vonnie.
I like that. Your presentation today and the passion that you have after your loss was so important for us. And we're A-type personalities in this room, so there wasn't always a lot of engagement. But trust me, we heard what you had to say. Talk to us about how important that this mission that you're on now for the definition of change, mental health professionals, but the resources for family members and loved ones.
Yeah. You know, it's so important. I mean, I lost my husband 18 years ago to depression, and that's one of my passions is talking about the illness versus the act and getting to, rather than how somebody dies, we talk about why someone dies, and that's truly one of my passions. And it's so important because once I started sharing and talking and being open about, my husband struggled with anxiety-driven depression. He was fourth generation suicide.
That's incredible.
There were things that we weren't talking about that maybe if we were talking about, would he still be here? I don't know, but that's my passion now for the fifth generation, the sixth generation, is to bring the conversation to the forefront, to normalize, to destigmatize, and I believe by destigmatizing is changing that definition. It's outdated and it's stigmatized, and it is currently one who intentionally kills themselves. I like to think of it as someone that is suffering from a mental health, brain health illness, or pain, because the CDC states that over 54% of those that die by suicide do not have a diagnosed mental health illness. So there's more than half of people suffering that we're not talking about.
And I think that what's been important for us as we heard your presentation today is to look at from within how we respond, and that, okay, just deal with it and we got to move on. And it's not that easy. And what's important has been, how do you do follow-up? Your message to us with that engagement, you talked about your family, you talked about your struggles with your son, your daughters, and the response from an officer who interacted with you, how much that meant with your son. Talk to us a little bit about that.
You know, there's such a fear of judgment, right, from all around us, whether it's because of suicide, you don't want to talk about it, you want to deny it because you don't want people to think that you're crazy. And when officers play a part and we are in those moments of trauma and devastation, denial ourselves, wondering how we got there, surreal. And when we're not offered compassion and understanding, it adds to our grief. It adds to our confusion, because you guys have have power, you know, and you have power to make a difference on both ways, both sides. So by just offering a little bit of compassion and understanding, I think it could go a long way.
And I think as we talked about during our Q&A session, the resources that are available in Washington County, as I mentioned, we have a public safety millage that we're able to use mental health professionals with our local agencies. It's not forever, but it's been a great start. And I know that other communities have been looking at this concept to see how will this work. And I know with your work, and you're talking with the Michigan Sheriff's Association and Michigan Medicine, you're in all of the right places and presenting and speaking on this issue from your personal experience. What can we do to help motivate and get involved with helping to change that definition?
It's so easy, and it costs nothing. Remove stigmatizing words from our conversation. Take out the word commit. You know, my husband did not commit suicide. Suicide was considered a crime up until 1964. That's where the word commit comes in. Do people commit other illnesses? Do people commit the flu? We all are getting the flu these days, or we're worried about the flu. Do they commit cancer? Do they commit heart disease? No. So let's talk about our brain and our brain health like we do every other part of our body. And by doing that, we're able to talk about the illness rather than the act, which I think in return reduces the stigma and judgment.
So how can people reach you, your website, your work that you're doing in the outreach? Give us your website information.
Yeah, I understand loveheals.org.
And we're going to put that information also in this blog post of how to reach Bonnie and all of the resources that are available that we shared with us today. And you had a booklet. I got one of those booklets as well as I got my patch on because I believe in what you're doing and how important it is. What is the name of that booklet and how can people get access?
Okay, so I have a book that's called I Understand Pain, Love, and Healing After Suicide. That is available on Amazon. And that is currently a resource throughout the entire state of Michigan with 574 Michigan Sheriff's Association advocates, the ones that go into people's homes after a crisis to bring some sort of compassion and understanding.
That's fantastic. We're going to put that information up on the screen, how you can get access to the booklet, the website information and contact information for all of the great work. And I know at some point you'll be doing some training and doing some additional outreach from what you shared with us today. And we look forward to staying in touch with you on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bonnie, thank you again so much on behalf of the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan, all of our members and everyone who was here today, and those who will see the blog post and the information that's being shared about what we learned today from Bonnie and this important mission. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yes, we are very appreciative of Bonnie's presentation and the insight that she provided on the issues that she has been addressing with her newfound organization, and also the important effort that we want to make sure that we share this information to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, that 1-800-273-8255, 1-800-273-TALK as the numbers associated with those talk letters. And this is so important if a family is in need or an individual who is in need of assistance and having these notions and concerns about taking one's life, or you know of someone who has been sharing or talking about ending it all, please refer them to this number, call the 911 number. But those resources that are available at the hotline and the lifeline is so critically important. And we wanted to make sure that we shared that with you. Also, our next group that we had at our conference, something that has been important for law enforcement, and working with our community and our youth in the community, and an organization that's called Bridge the Gap. This is based out of the Saginaw Bay County region. This organization that was at our conference to talk with us about the work that they're doing and sharing with their youth, as well as all of the local law enforcement agencies that they're recruiting to come in to be a part of this working with youth and law enforcement. The goal of the program is designed to break down barriers between law enforcement and youth. And there are a number of activities that go on a national perspective. And one in particular that we've done for many years is National Night Out. It's a way not only to break down the barriers of working with youth and law enforcement being involved, but also the importance of law enforcement being able to engage with youth. We know that there has been a lot of concern about these different types of interactions, but from the positive side of things, it's time for us all to look at how and what we do and how can we do it better, and recognizing how do we work with our community to build trust, to build the awareness. That has been my initiative since day one, since I walked in the door, is to work with our neighborhood groups, work with our youth, work with our schools, to provide resources as well as be a listening ear. That is so important for what we need to do. Let's go to this interview with the gentleman from Bridge the Gap to hear their perspective, hear their program, but also the insight of working with youth in their community.
And good morning. We are here at the Crime Prevention Association Mission Conference with our wrap-up day, day number 4, conference and banquets on Tuesday night. But what we're going to talk about today is our workshop that's coming up, talking about this program. And I'm going to have these two gentlemen who are presenting this morning share with us your program title, how we can reach it, but the most important part about the success of what you're doing in your community.
So, my name is Aite Soa, Bridge the Gap, Officer Brandon Murphy. Our website is webridgethegap.net. Our telephone number there is 989-860-1731. I had to think about it for a second. I look at you like, what's the number?
Because one of the things,
You tell me the number.
We never call our own numbers. I
Right.
get that, and I have that sometimes too.
I'm
man.
telling you. Our Bridge the Gap is our mission is building positive relationships between law enforcement and the community. Our goal is to make the areas in the communities a better place to live, work, and play. The concept of Bridge the Gap came about as more of a preventative measure, crime prevention.
Yes.
And that's why we started Bridge the Gap. It was shortly after Officer Murphy got shot that we started Bridge the Gap, just to make that difference and build these relationships between law enforcement and the community. Officer Murphy?
Yeah. And again, I'm Officer Murphy. I've been an officer for 21 years with the Bay City Department of Public Safety. And as Aite said, I was shot in the line of duty back in 2015. And Aite and I, we know each other from playing basketball. We play in a small little league at the Y, and right after I was shot, he contacted me. And he's a hard person to say no to. He asked me.
He couldn't play basketball anyway.
I beat him all the time. And he, when he called me, well, first he did check on me, but he said, we have to do something, and I have this idea. And the idea was Bridge the Gap. So we had a basketball event that really evolved into what we are doing right now in our community, which is the Great Lakes Bay region. And we are expanding and growing each year. But our emphasis is to find those young men and women, that might be on the fence. Maybe they haven't had any positive police contact, and really facilitate and provide venues and avenues for them to come and meet officers from their area and have fun and see us as we are. We're just humans. So that's been great, and it's been a great ride.
So let me ask you this. With Bridge the Gap, you've got young people coming in from various communities, various ethnic groups. How do you help break down those barriers? Because we have so much now that's being influenced by social media.
Sure.
Okay, and when they ride the wave of social media, they fall into these little pockets and cliques. How do you get them out of that to be able to open up in your Bridge the Gap program?
I think the biggest thing is that we get the officers to step outside of that box. We all have to step outside of that box. The officers, the community, we get out the comfort zone. And I think that will allow us all to come together. Sometimes you gotta be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's no real expectations. The only true expectation is that you're gonna be a good police officer. Other than that, open up, have fun. And when we get these officers to open up with these young kids, it's a world of difference to them. It is a world of difference to them. And we've had so many young kids come to us and say, wow, I would have never talked to him. I would have never talked to that cop. But, even though we're from different backgrounds, guess what? He's real cool. We're cool and they can get and that goes on both sides. That's just not the kids that have to be different. The officers have to be different. There's a lot of work to do on both sides of the fence here.
Yeah.
And so one of our major projects that we are taking on now is we're adding diversity to law enforcement. We sent thus far just about 13 young men and women of a diverse background to the police academy. We fund them and send them to the police academy, and then we get them jobs while they're in the academy and after the academy with different agencies. And so that is something that is truly important to do, is to add diversity to law enforcement as well.
No, and that's powerful and that's important, because one of the things, as I was sharing with everybody a little bit earlier, my avenue will, in being a professional musician and entertaining thousands of students, they never knew that I was in law enforcement. I would leave the stage off of this huge set of drums and doing this powerful show about lifestyle choices. And then we would go and engage them, and then I'd tell them where I worked and what I did, and they were like, "You got to be kidding!
Yeah.
You got to be kidding!"
That's awesome.
You know, and
you know,
it breaks the barrier.
It does.
Breaks down
to
the barrier.
To see that this guy who I would, normally be in the street in that uniform, because when you wear that uniform, it means something, right? But then when they see you as a normal person doing something fun, they like,
Yeah,
really? It takes a double take at it. So
it is.
It is eye-opening.
Yeah.
And I want to add something really quick. We talked a while ago, and one thing we realized, the first thing that we have to do is to come together. In order to come together, we must come together. And because we provide that avenue, and just with sports and different things, that people really see you as you are. So,
Well, I'm excited about hearing the presentation, but just as a FYI, I'm coming up to see you guys.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I want to come up and see you guys, check your program out, whatever we can do to help. The Crime Prevention Association, I've been involved now for almost 30 years doing crime prevention. And the most important part about this catalyst for us, it's networking. And we share with each other, the other law enforcement personnel from not only here in the state of Michigan, but around the country. And the speakers and the people that we bring in are now a part of our network of information sharing and resources. I want to help be that for you, as well as be the conduit.
That's how we make things better.
Be the conduit. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you.
We got
Thank
a lot of connection that's going on here from all over, being part of Saginaw and everything else. So, bridge the gap. We are going to hear that, but you're going to hear some more information. We're going to put the website, the link up, how you can reach them, all of the information that's important about this important program. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
thank you.
For listening. All right, bye-bye now.
And yes, thank you so much, the gentleman from Bridge the Gap. In closing, our Crime Prevention Association of Michigan has been in existence for, 35, 40 years now. And this is something for me, being a part of it for as long as I have. I always learn. That's why I love the theme for our conference last year of learning, collaborate, sharing, and connecting. That's essential. This is something that when you get involved in crime prevention, the networking with your peers who are doing like work in the community is so important. Our community policing initiatives that are coming back across the state of Michigan and across the country. For those agencies that are involved, we applaud you. We applaud the effort to be there at the neighborhood level, to be able to be the eyes and ears, and encouraging that from our community. In our conference this year, we had a turnover of officers. We have a new president for the Michigan Crime Prevention Association of Michigan, Rick Smirnoff, who is he was working out of the West Michigan police agencies that's over there on the west side of the state. And soon I will have him on so that we can talk about some of the new initiatives from our crime prevention group and the things that we're looking for with reaching out to the other agencies across the state of Michigan. Here on the east side of Michigan and across the state of Michigan, we're encouraging, as law enforcement and are getting back involved with their communities and being able to do more as the pandemic continues to decline, and that is a big part of everything that we all want, is this pandemic to decline so that we can begin this interactions with each other and get back to some of the normalcy. That's going to be critically important for us all. But being able to host those community events and host neighborhood watch meetings, be at the school events, is going to be important. And we want to be able to share the Crime Prevention of Michigan resources. For those who are members, we have access to grants. We have access to a number of things in addition to quarterly meetings, workshops, and the resources. But my biggest plus has always been the camaraderie, the networking, being able to reach out to my peers, share with them PowerPoints and information. My goal has always been, don't reinvent the wheel. Others of us have done this. Let us help you. Let us be a part of this. And that's what we want to do with the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan. In our blog posts that's posted on the CPAM website, you will find information on crime prevention, fire safety, internet safety, scams, and fraud. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission's most recently released report, tremendous data, breakdown state by state, so that you can specifically see what's going on in your state. Here in the state of Michigan, the numbers have gone up every year as far as victims of crime, and that crime being fraud, as well as the internet safety issues that go along with scams. So we want everybody to not only understand the dynamics of what these reports are telling us, but if you've been a victim of a fraud or identity theft, we need you to file a police report. That data goes into that national report, and we can't always retrieve the information or funds that may have been exchanged. But I always enjoy getting those calls from residents who have heard for years how not to fall prey to the victimized of email scams, phone calls. We have a number of robocall killers now that our consumers can get access to block the scam phone calls. They're using auto dialers to dial us up 24/7. And it's great that the phone companies and the cell phone companies are now able to block all of those phone calls from coming in. And if you are concerned and not quite sure, contact your local crime prevention officer and ask for details on how to set up your phone and where can you find the resources to understand and logistics of how to set the parameters on your landlines for those who still have a landline, as well as your personal cell phone device. Please make sure that you do not fall prey to any of those scams and fall. The Better Business Bureau has great information, but most of all, with our crime prevention initiatives, we're talking about these resources at a number of variety of ways. We're going to be working very closely with the AARP, the Michigan Dementia Coalition. I had the opportunity to serve as power of attorney for my 95-year-old World War II vet father-in-law. And what an eye-opening experience. And we've done a series of workshops on the initiatives that we experienced dealing with in-home care, the types of scams and fraud that we were facing from a variety of perspectives. We actually pulled a reverse mortgage after extensive and careful research in order to fulfill our commitment to keep Dad at home as long as we possibly could. So in the workshops that we've done, we've talked about the nuances of home care, in-home care, working with those in-home care providers, adult protective services, the efforts with the VA nursing homes and how to apply, as well as making sure that all of those benefits from Medicare, that there are no frauds, there's nothing that can inhibit making sure that quality care is rendered, but also safely. So in closing, we're going to be working again with our youth and children and the Safe Kids Initiative here in Michigan and Washington County, but also sharing information from the national level. And we look forward to ongoing programs that we're going to be sharing on this platform via ECAM and Rich at the Prevention Corner. We look forward to being able to host more of our programs and sharing this insight with you in shows. But most of all, we want to make sure that we provide the resources from the Crime Prevention Association of Michigan. Feel free to contact us here at our website from our speakers, but also the information that we provide at the blog. So we, again, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Rich Coleman. I'm the host for the Prevention Corner, and we are looking forward to sharing more programming with you.